with this being Liberation Day, aka called by Donald Trump, that means our Canadian political campaign is going to be a little bit different. Mark Carney is pausing his campaign today as the Liberal leader to deal with Trump tariffs. The impact on the economy will certainly be front and center along the campaign trail for the other leaders, too.
And this is where they'll be. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is scheduled to deliver a keynote address in Toronto this morning, and then he'll hold a rally in Kingston tonight. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is set to make an announcement in Winnipeg this morning and join a picket line with local workers who are on strike before heading to Ottawa.
Joining us now, though, for his daily analysis of the overall federal election race is CTV News political commentator Scott Reid. Scott, good morning to you. This is the day that a lot of people have been circling on their calendars, April 2nd, Liberation Day. Mark Carney becomes the prime minister again during a campaign here. Let's talk about the significance of this day and how the leaders, not just Mark Carney, but the other party leaders are reacting as well, Scott.
Yeah, it's not possible to overstate the significance of today. I think when we look back in the future on April 2nd, we're going to say this is a day that really dictated a lot of history to come. So whether that's the outcome of this federal election or whether it is the economic implications to follow. Yesterday, the Conference Board of Canada said that in the second quarter of this year alone, just in the second quarter, the effect of these tariffs could amount to 160,000 job losses in Canada. So you can bet damn sure that that is the kind of thing that braces and focuses and concentrates political leaders. So today we're going to, again, see Mark Carney slide off the campaign trail, as you said. He puts on the robes of prime minister. And in effect, that puts him in pole position as he voices the response of the country, as he strikes the tone the Canadians are looking for in terms of responding to Trump. Will he meet that mark? Will he not? But it puts him in a very commanding position politically. Pierre Poilievre, keynote address this morning. I'll just focus on the two of them. You know, Poilievre's campaign has not performed well in this first 10 days of the election. It will be fascinating to see what he has to say. Does he shift his message? Does he bring something new to the table with respect to how the Conservatives would adopt governing vis-a-vis Trump? How will he respond to this moment? Because right now the trajectory of this campaign is very, very poor for the Conservatives.
Yeah, and, you know, we've seen through countless polls that the Liberals are kind of widening their lead, and the Conservatives, according to the Nanos poll, is slightly down. When we look at their messaging, I mean, yesterday it was interesting to hear Pierre Poilievre speaking about, he did talk about Trump, and he did talk about, he was kind of positioning Carney with, you know, the president, and rather the prime minister that Trump wants to see in power in Canada, and saying, you know, there's a reason for this. Do you think he can make any headway following these announcements we're going to hear around 4 p.m. today?
Well, this is a challenge. I think this speech really is going to have to really captivate Canadians, because we know that Donald Trump is going to speak at 4, and that is going to obliterate all other news and all other considerations. And then, of course, we're going to get the response over the coming days, and it may take days for a proper response from the federal government and from the prime minister. He's going to have to consult with premiers. He's going to have to consult with business leaders. What degree of detail will we get from the Trump White House? There's some indications that none of the small print will be available to us. So how do you actually constitute a set of retaliatory tariffs? How do you re-equip your economy to deal with all of that? For Poilievre, it's a very challenging situation. So I think the tale of the campaign so far has been that Canadians are concerned about Donald Trump, and tariffs today is only going to intensify that. It's going to rocket ship this issue even higher in terms of people's anxieties and worries and focus. And Poilievre is going to have to take some advantage of this moment to say, I am the better choice. Donald Trump and Mark Carney are not co-equal. From the Conservative perspective, they've got to make it clear that public enemy number one for Canada is Donald Trump. Public concern number one for the Conservatives is tariffs, and that they have a better, superior plan and leader to manage that. If they don't meet that test, they're not going to win this campaign. It's really starting to look that stark.
Yeah, and the stakes are high. And let's quickly look at those polls. We just brought up the board earlier from the latest overnight tracking poll from Nanos. Scott, when you look at these and you think about what it would be like in a campaign war room, you know, what are you seeing here? The Liberals here have about an 8-point lead at this point overall in ballot support.
Yeah, and the important thing is that when you dig underneath these numbers and look at them on a regional basis, what you're seeing is that the Bloc and the NDP in places like Quebec, BC, and Ontario have gone missing. And that is a giant concern for the Conservatives. As worrying as their number is, that they're now in the low to mid-30s, the fact that the NDP and the Bloc are not there stealing votes from the Liberals in critical ridings, that is a big concern when it comes to seat count.
Okay, that is CTV's political commentator, Scott Reid, joining us every day with his analysis. Appreciate your time, Scott. Have a good Liberation Day.